Playwright CLI is the newest way to use Playwright with your coding agent, allowing you to manage local and session storage, take snapshots, manage tabs, basically the full power of the Playwright engine inside your terminal. But why would anyone use this instead of using the Playwright MCP server? In fact, why are more CLIs being built from tools that were previously MCP servers? Hit subscribe and let's get into it. Let's start off by testing both the Playwright CLI and MCP server on one simple task. I'm going to ask it to help me test a tool I've been working on to download videos from Twitter. I'm going to ask Playwright to grab the link for this tweet, paste it here, extract the video, then wait for 10 seconds before taking a screenshot and then clearing local storage so that the next agent can have a fresh slate. We'll first try it with the Playwright CLI using Claude code, and if we install it, we should have the skill available here. Notice it only takes up 68 tokens. So now I'm going to give it this prompt, which tells the agent explicitly to use the Playwright CLI skill just to make things a bit easier. So now I'll hit enter, then it loads the skill, puts this URL into the text box, clicks extract video, then it's going to wait for 10 seconds. Now it's taken the screenshot, cleared local storage, and it's closed the browser. So now it's all done. It says the screenshot is saved here, and if we take a look at it, we can see it shows the video was successfully downloaded, and the whole thing has used up around 16% of the tokens. Now let's try the same thing using the MCP server. We can use the MCP command to check that we have it installed. And before we go ahead and do that, let's take a look at the context. And if we scroll up, we can see that already 15% of the context is being used because all of these MCP tools are being loaded, which use about 3.6k tokens. Okay, so with that in mind, we're going to use the same prompt. And notice I'm using the Playwright MCP server tools instead of using the CLI skill. So it's gone ahead to use the MCP server, which opens up a new browser. Then it's pasted the link into the input. Then it's going to click the button. I've noticed the MCP server asks for way more permissions than the CLI does, which is fine. And it's had a few issues taking the screenshot, which may be because I already have a file with this name. I actually tried it again with the Playwright MCP server, and even though it tried with a different screenshot name, it had issues multiple times trying to extract a screenshot. And now it's finished. It was able to do everything apart from take the screenshot, but let's now take a look at the context. And we can see it's used up 35k, which is 18%. So just a tiny bit more than the CLI, the bulk of which was taken up by the MCP tools. But there's actually a way to do the exact same set of tasks and use slightly less context, which I'll talk about a bit later on in the video. Now, I know this is just one example, and there may even be scenarios where the MCP server uses less tokens than the Playwright CLI, depending on the task, although I doubt it. And you may even be thinking, well, the difference between 16 and 18% isn't that much. But the CLI does have other advantages over the MCP server. By default, the Playwright MCP server doesn't expose all the available tools. In fact, you'd have to opt into extra tools like PDF generation or tracing in order to use them because they take up too much context. The CLI, however, doesn't have that limitation. In fact, all the tools are available from the get-go, and the CLI isn't just good for agents, it's also good for humans, because for tasks you do over and over again, or even for end-to-end testing, you can create a simple bash script that a human can run to verify the results, but also an agent can run as well. But this doesn't mean the MCP server is useless, because if you're building an agentic loop you want to run anywhere, so in the browser, on desktop and mobile apps, not just in the terminal, then the MCP server is perfect for that, because it's a standard protocol that agents use to access tools, and because Playwright runs JavaScript or TypeScript code, you can run this code in any environment that supports the JavaScript runtime. Also, the MCP server runs in headed mode by default, whereas the CLI runs in headless mode since it's designed to run in the background encoding agents. And if you do care about reducing tokens in the Playwright MCP server, you can configure it by turning certain tools on or off. In fact, if your aim is to use as little tokens as possible, then you shouldn't use the Playwright CLI either, because Vercel's agent browser runs Playwright under the hood, but has a Rust CLI, making it faster and is designed to use less tokens than Playwright, as you saw in my earlier example. Check out the next video to learn all about Agent Browser and take your coding agent's browsing skills to the next level.